Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and staying sane in your houses. So I did my species report on the manatee, and I did this because me and my two friends over spring break went and stayed right on the Ichnetucknee River, which is about 4 hours from here, and it's a spring-fed river. So on our 7-mile paddleboard trip, we ran into a whole pod of manatee. So I'm gonna put those pictures in and then I'll start my species report. Alright, so the manatee is also known as a sea cow, and that's because they are large, very large, aquatic mammals. They're mostly gray, although they can appear greenish and brownish depending on the type of algae that tends to grow on their backs. They have large, heavy, seal-shaped like bodies, and they're easily identified by their bodies that taper out to like a paddle-shaped like tail. Their faces are wrinkled and their snouts are covered in like these little tiny whiskers. They're really cute. The average adult manatee is 10 feet in length and weighs between 800 and 1,200 pounds. The manatee is a migratory species, so during the winter months they are primarily found in the Caribbean and here in Florida. And during the summer months they have been found as far north as North Carolina and as far west as Texas. So they can easily transition from freshwater to saltwater environments. They prefer shallow, slow-moving rivers, estuaries, salt bays, canals, and coastal areas. They mainly congregate in the areas that have seagrass beds and where fresh vegetation like flourishes. The manatees play a very large ecological role in their environment. One of the biggest ones is the recycling of various limiting nutrients, which promotes primary productivity. They also have a huge influence on the structure and function of their environments because they do eat so much vegetation. So that just ensures that the waterways are not obstructed and overgrown by the vegetation. They are also able to serve as indicator species of the overall ecological health of the habitats. They're primarily herbivores. They consume around 60 different types of submergent, emergent, and floating and shoreline aquatic vegetation. And they can consume 4 to 9% on a daily basis of vegetation like in their body weight. So for an 800-pound manatee, they could consume up to 32 pounds of vegetation. That's a lot. They really have no known predators, and this is mainly because of their distinct habitat requirements. The only threat to manatees is really humans. They used to be hunted for their meat, fat, and tough hides, but after hunting of manatees was deemed illegal, their main threats from humans are now boating collisions and loss of warm water springs, which provide them important habitats because they're really susceptible to dying in cold water. They are also vulnerable to entanglement in fishing gear, red tide blooms, and loss of seagrass beds they feed upon due to the pollutants. Unlike some animal species, the manatee do not mate for life. In fact, during breeding season or during their breeding times, the female manatee will be followed and surrounded by a group of a dozen or more male manatees, and they form like a mating herd around her. And depending on like the age and the experience in the male manatee, that plays a primary role in the success of the breeding. The female manatee's reproduction rate is very low. They only produce one calf every 2 to 5 years. And once the calf is born, it then relies on its mother to nurse it for 1 to 2 years. And during this time, the calf is completely dependent on its mom. And my fun facts are, the manatee is more closely related to the elephant than any other marine creature. And the manatee can hold its breath for up to 20 minutes before it needs to come up for a fresh breath of air. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see y'all next Saturday. Bye.